In the hush-heavy corridor, little Rachel's trembling voice suddenly slices through the mansion's fragile facade of calm. "Mom, the night Uncle EJ was shot. I saw Johnny arguing with him, he was even holding a gun." In that instant, the words toll like a fate-forging bell in Kristen's mind, a single clue powerful enough to shift the balance of power for the entire family. A master at treating information as a weapon, Kristen instantly senses how much weight rests on this child's innocent confession. It can unlock the door to the full truth, or snap shut like an iron collar around both EJ and Johnny. Will she lay this secret on the bargaining table and demand the CEO's chair at DiMera Enterprises? Or wield it as a blade pressed to Stefano's son, compelling EJ to pay every outstanding debt? And what of Johnny, the nephew who has tried more than once to escape the DiMera darkness? Will Kristen sacrifice him as a disposable pawn, or keep him in reserve as a trump card when the family war inevitably erupts? With a single whispered admission, the scales of power have tipped sharply toward Kristen. And in Salem, where secrets are the highest value currency, whoever holds the truth holds everyone else's fate, until, of course, the next secret crawls out of the shadows. A child's confession. "Mom, I have to tell you something," Rachel whispers, her voice quivering just enough that Kristen's eyes sharpen. Years of schemes have trained Kristen to hear every tremor in a person's tone. She crouches, bringing herself to Rachel's level, brushing a strand of glossy hair from the girl's forehead. "It's all right, sweetheart," she says softly, in a mother's voice rarely heard outside these quiet, private moments. "Whatever it is, you can tell me." Rachel swallows. The night Uncle EJ was shot, Johnny was there. Those words skim across Kristen's psyche like a stone skipping over water, each bounce creating ripples of possibility, suspicion, and fear. Uncle EJ DiMera, portrayed by Dan Feuerriegel, isn't just any relative, he is one-time heir apparent, occasional CEO, and frequent lightning rod for mayhem. His shooting shocked Salem, though in this household of complex loyalties no villain remains singular for long. Kristen's eyebrows knit together. "Johnny? Are you certain?" She tries for a reassuring tone, yet a steel thread vibrates beneath. Rachel nods. "I saw him arguing with Uncle EJ. And Johnny had a gun." In the space of a heartbeat, the opulent room feels colder. Kristen's mind, always quick to strategize, leaps ahead. If Johnny, Carson Boatman, truly brandished a weapon, is he the shooter or merely another pawn? And more urgently, how can this knowledge be used, protected, or manipulated? The weight of DiMera history for viewers who have followed Days of Our Lives, across years, or even decades, it is no secret that the DiMera family thrives on secrets, mostly of the dangerous variety. Stefano's long shadow lingers, his children inheriting not just his empire but his appetite for intrigue. Kristen herself has danced on every side of morality, sometimes villainous, sometimes victim, always formidable. Her bond with Johnny is equally layered. She was once his stepmother, and despite betrayals, a sliver of maternal instinct remains. Johnny, in turn, has oscillated between loyalty and rebellion, his heart often ruling his head. One week he may defend family honor, the next he may torch it to prove a point. And now Rachel, a child, innocent in years yet steeped in DiMera complexity, has placed a fragile truth in Kristen's hands. What does a mother do? Our preview pauses here to consider Kristen's dilemma, because it is not merely a plot point, it is a character crucible. She has three competing instincts: protect Rachel, above all, her daughter's safety and happiness matter. If Rachel's knowledge becomes public, she could be pulled into the investigator's spotlight, reliving the trauma, facing cross-examination. Shield the family name. The DiMera brand may wear scandal like a familiar cloak, but an internal betrayal carries extra sting. Exposing Johnny could fracture the family at a moment when unity is already fragile. Leverage the secret. Kristen has never met a secret she could not turn into currency. Johnny's possible guilt might become a bargaining chip, against rivals, against EJ himself, maybe even against law enforcement should they come sniffing too close. To an outsider, the moral path seems obvious: tell the police, ensure justice. Yet nothing is simple when DiMera blood is in the mix. Love, ambition, revenge. They tangle like vines until right and wrong blur into opportunistic shades of gray. Johnny's side of the story. While our cameras linger on Kristen and Rachel, it is worth imagining Johnny pacing elsewhere in the mansion. Does he know Rachel saw him? Is he tormented by guilt, or confidently strategizing his defense? In recent months Johnny has strived to carve out an identity free from DiMera machinations, dabbling in filmmaking, love affairs, and business ventures. Still, the family's gravitational pull is nearly impossible to escape. Should Kristen confront him directly, sparks will fly. She might demand honesty, threaten exposure, or paradoxically offer protection, depending on whether maternal instinct or Machiavellian impulse reigns in that moment. The broader fallout: EJ's shooting already set Salem abuzz. Rumors swirl in the Brady pub, in Horton Town Square, and across every coffee cup conversation. If Johnny's involvement surfaces, alliances will realign overnight. Marlena and John may rally behind Johnny, their grandson, pleading for understanding. Chanel Dupree, Johnny's on-again, off-again love, may feel betrayed or compelled to stand by him, adding emotional fireworks. Gabby Hernandez and Stefan O. DiMera could seize the chaos as a corporate opening, aiming to snatch DiMera Enterprises yet again. In other words, Rachel's small confession could become the pebble that triggers an avalanche. Will Rachel speak publicly? Here lies the preview's central question. Children on soaps often carry truths heavier than their shoulders can bear. In a tender scene, Rachel may beg Kristen to handle everything, trusting her mother implicitly. Alternatively, guilt could drive Rachel to spill her story to a trusted adult, Grandma Marlena, perhaps, appending Kristen's carefully laid plans before they begin. Remember, Rachel is part Brady through her father, Brady Black, and part DiMera through Kristen. Those two lineages rarely agree on anything. Her decision will symbolize which legacy, truth-telling Brady virtue or secret-keeping DiMera cunning, claims her heart. A week of edge-of-seat moments. If past previews are any guide, expect each weekday episode to inch this storyline forward. Monday may show Kristen weighing her options, perhaps making a cryptic phone call. Tuesday could feature a tense breakfast where Johnny, unaware of Rachel's words, sits across from Kristen, feeling the icy undertow beneath her polite smile. Wednesday might give us a flashback to the night of the shooting, illuminating motives we only guessed at. Thursday often brings a cliffhanger, perhaps Rachel blurts something in front of an unexpected witness. Friday, true to soap tradition, will leave us with mouths agape. A police knock at the door, a hospital alarm, or a dramatic declaration that changes family dynamics forever. No matter how events unfold, one truth remains: in Salem, secrets cannot stay buried for long. But the way they surface, whether through courtroom drama, living room confessions, or midnight escapes, can keep viewers riveted for months. Why this matters to longtime fans: for those who have watched Days, since the days of black and white television, the DiMeras symbolize how a single family can anchor an entire saga. Their excesses, passions, and crimes are outsized, yet their dilemmas, loyalty versus morality, ambition versus conscience, speak to universal human questions. As we age, we recognize the weight of past choices and the echoes of family history. Watching Kristen wrestle with Rachel's revelation reminds us that every generation inherits unresolved tensions and must decide either to repeat them or finally break the cycle. Looking ahead, will Kristen protect Johnny, or sacrifice him to protect her daughter? Will Rachel's innocence survive the fallout of adult deception? And perhaps most tantalizing, who really pulled the trigger on EJ DiMera? In Salem, a confession is never the end of the story. It is merely the opening note of the next symphony of scheming. So, brew yourself a fresh cup of tea, adjust the volume just loud enough to catch every whispered aside, and settle in. The DiMera living room's chandeliers are about to sway again, and you won't want to miss a single shiver of crystal or shadow.